Well, we are so delighted that you're all here today, and it is a night about light, isn't it?
It is a night all about the light.
Yes. And so our talk title is Allowing the Light. And as we begin, I'm turning to Eric Butterworth. He was a Unity minister. He led a powerful ministry in New York City and wrote some very powerful books in our Unity movement. He says, if there is one thing one needs more than anything else, it is light. Light in terms of insight into self, guidance along life's way, knowledge of the secrets of the universe, and the wisdom to use light and not abuse it. This is pretty powerful because this is a clear explanation of what this light is in our lives. And as we know, we can use all of our innate ability for the greatest good or for the smallest menini issue. So we don't want to abuse light. We want to use light. And one of the ways that we do that is to allow the light, to open to it, to accept it, and be aware of it. And this is our journey, especially as the culmination of this Advent journey of awakening to that light within.
That's absolutely right. And I love the way Emily Cady talks about that light being right here within each of us. She says that the light that you so crave will come out of the deep silence and become manifest to you from within yourself, if you will but keep still and look for it from that source. The good news is that we don't have to look anywhere else. And the light is wisdom. It's not something that is given to us. We might cultivate wisdom. We might cultivate that light through encounters and experiences that we have as we progress through our life's journey. But the wisdom, that inherent light, is something that we are born with. It is the divine birthright that each and every one of us have. Now the trick is to be awakened to that light, to allow for the illumination of mind to happen. I don't know about you guys, all of you, especially this time of year, but I would do almost anything rather than sit still with myself because I just don't know what the next message is going to bring, what the next ask is going to be, what the next calling and the next placement that I'm going to have to get off my tail and go and do something with it, right? So I am busy with my family, and I'm busy with work, and I'm busy with school, and almost anything to avoid hearing that call, hearing that still small voice of God within me. But we can't outrun God. And we can't outrun ourselves. And once we sit still and we have that illuminating moment, we can't go backwards. We can't ever unknow what we have come to recognize. We just progress from there.
And yet sometimes we forget.
Or ignore it.
Or because
I don't want to see the light.
I go to sleep, you know?
That's right.
Co-founder Myrtle Fillmore. I love Myrtle. We are to remember that the light shines in the darkness. And that in the very midst of the darkness, man's mind opens to the light, and for him there is no more darkness. Imagine a room with no light. If you've ever been in a cave, no light. And if you light a match or a little tiny birthday candle, the room is no longer dark. It might be dim, but it's no longer dark. All we need is to accept or turn to or be aware of that indwelling light. And from that, it dispels darkness. Just like turning on a light switch. It's no longer dark. Hence, we don't stub our toe anymore. It's a blessing that this light is always with us. It's that indwelling light of God that is our illuminating factor. And it isn't light like we see light, like the sunlight or these very bright lights that the video can be seen. It's an inner light. And the inner light is that being, that essence, that is what we can begin to look for in others. Now, it's really easy to see in the people we love. But can we see the light in those we disagree with? Or those who we're challenged by? Or maybe that boss? Or you can probably think of someone you disagree with. And if you don't, what a blessing it is. But we can turn that light and see that bright shining in anyone if we choose to look for it. And if we can't see it, we can call it forth by saying, let our light shine. You don't have to say it out loud. You can just claim it and then see what bubbles up.
In essence, darkness is an illusion. Because wherever we are, there is light. And how about this quote from Ernest Wilson? He says that we measure the space between the stars and galaxies in terms of light years. We do not measure things in terms of darkness. If darkness is an illusion, and we are always being the Christ presence, we are always that light, isn't it also true that we need some downtime? That for us to gather our energies, gather our forces, to be still with ourselves and know what the next thing is that we are going to be called to do is for our soul's growth. We didn't come here to just be the same exact version from A to Z that we were born. We've had experiences. We've gone places. We've met people. We've learned things. And we've connected light to light to light. And that is where the expansiveness comes from. So we see and we're attracted to the light, like the wise men and the shepherds on Christmas. At the birth of baby Jesus, they were called by the Christmas star, by the light, to just try something, go somewhere, feel it, know it's true, and be drawn to the light. So when we allow ourselves and we don't second guess that nature, we don't second guess God, we can't outrun God, we can't outguess God. When we allow ourselves to unfold and stretch and reach beyond, then we have the ability to measure growth. I am one being, and I am stretching my light as far and wide as I can. This is a light year. And guess what? It meets Gary's light. And together we shine brighter. We shine bigger. It's the light that we can measure, not the absence of or the darkness.
And yet, we live in a dimension where our lives would be very bland without the darkness and the light. Because it's that contrast that gives us shadow, that gives us differentiation, that gives us depth. And it's where we learn. It's going to be the place we learn is moving from that darkness into the light. And I know in my own life where there's been those moments of shadow or darkness or pain or discomfort that awaken me to light, because we yearn for the light, for the healing, for the wholeness. And so I turn to these words from Rebecca Clark, she's Unity Minister, says, the seed of our divinity starts to germinate and grow into a beautiful expression as the light of the Christ nature stirs within us. And just like the seed that's growing through the dirt, it starts in the loam, it starts in the darkness. We start from a place of I don't know. And as we embrace the light, the water, the opportunity to learn and grow, we more and more can turn and identify that Christ's nature is always with us and can guide us through those challenges that we face. When friends disappoint us, or family lets us down, or we get unemployed, or any of those kinds of opportunities in life that challenge us. And it will be that light that guides us. And so we turn and allow the light to feed us, to restore us, and to give us clarity.
That's beautiful. Myrtle Fillmore, Mother of Unity, co-founder. I absolutely love this quote. I just think it's beautiful. The light is within you, and as you learn to look within, you become radiant. Because light is a quality of mind, and its essence is finding outlets through your mental faculties. Our light is principle in mind, and principle is God. So what I love about this quote and what Myrtle is saying is that once we've illuminated to that truth, once we are operating from the place of our God mind, looking through our God eyes, speaking with our God mouth, we just begin to radiate. We begin to radiate that God essence. So have you ever come across someone in your life, and I know most of you are going to say yes because one person's coming to mind, that you just want to be by? You just want to have them hug you, and you just want to hear them talk. And whatever spills forth from them is such rich wisdom that you can't help but have it contribute to your life. One of those people was Jesus. People would sit at his feet of the master and just want to entrain their energy, their light with his. Just touch his robe and just have a little bit of what he's got. Because if it was just a spark this big, then we are all the better for it. So we're all here at a Unity Church on Christmas Eve. So I know you've got God mind. I know you've got God thoughts and vision and words and an open heart. And as I said earlier, once you've known that and once you've owned that, you can't forget it. You can't unknow it, but you can put your blindfolders on. You can choose not to look through the lens of light and see the good and see the potential and see the creative process unfolding through us and as us everywhere we go and in every person we connect with. That's the magic of Christmas. We're focusing on it, so it's inherently and naturally growing.
I love it. And if we ever lose touch with our God mind, like, where is that God mind? There's those moments. It might be music calls us out. It might be being in nature that calls us out. It might be with a loved one that opens that knowing that love and that light and that joy and that peace exists. And I know that I feel it tonight. I started the evening by saying, I don't know if I'm going to get through the night without crying. Cries, tears of joy and gratitude for all that we have. It's beautiful. And so we're going to bring this with two quotes from Eric Butterworth. Started with Eric Butterworth, we're going to end with him. Light is where you are. It is the complete answer to what you need now and always. So if you can remember, light is where you are now. It's always with you now. What was that first thing in Genesis? It was, let there be light. That's the light that is us. And it's always present now and always now. Now, we don't get to reserve and store up our light from the past and stockpile it. Have you ever tried to put light in a box? Doesn't exactly work. And I'm not talking about wiring a light bulb into a box. I mean just stuffing light into a box. Try grabbing light. It doesn't happen. It's in the now. Here's the light. Here's the light. Now, every breath is the light. So allow it to be and allow the light.
Because the light is the reality of God within all creation. It is the reality of our own potential, all overcoming, all healing, all self-expansion is the inevitable effect of the dawning of light within and its effusion without. I have a confession. I was like, what is Eric Butterworth saying here? Effusion without. So I took to old Google. And I found out that it is once we come awaken to that we cannot help but the outpouring of light. So if we are all creation, that is God, if we are all potential, if we are all overcoming and healing, and our self-expansion is inevitable, then why waste energy in the resistance? Why would we resist what is inevitable? Why would we resist what is expansive and healing? Again, here we all are on a sacred evening, witnessing the birth of our expansiveness as the Christ within, as that baby potential. We but just have to own it and acknowledge it and embrace it. And just by doing that, we are outpouring of ourselves and we are doing our part. Jesus said in John 8, verse 12, that I am the light of the world. And if he was the light of the world and we possess that same divine spark, then guess what, folks? We are the light of the world. And we owe it to our mankind, our living creatures, to not bottle it up, but to outpour it and allow that light to be the healing nature and truth that it absolutely is.
That's a good affirmation to say. Let's all say it. I am the light of the world.
I am the light of the world.
Ooh, let's try it on let's take it a little deeper. I am the light of the world. Let's take it all the way to our toes. I am the light of the world. That feels good.
It does.
And that would be a good place for us to go into meditation and take that light all the way into our heart and our soul. And we'll allow the Unity Singers to guide us there in music. Breathing easy. Breathing deeply. Breathe in, Holy Father, and breathe out, let there be light. Breathing in, Holy Father, let there be light. Holy Father, let there be light. Then simplify it. Holy light. Holy light. Allow that to be a guide as we drop into our center. Whatever place we identify as the center of our being. And let that holy light and that breath turn to light. 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 As we turn into meditation and open to our divine inner light, as we now enter the silence. It is all about light. So let's take from this meditation the light that lights our way, that light that gives us insight, the light that gives us wonder and to heal. Let's allow that light to go with us as we continue in this service. Let's now become more aware of this room. You might wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, roll your head or your shoulders, and when you're ready, open your eyes. And then we'll say the affirmation that goes with our talk together. Now, I allow the perfect light within me to shine forth into my world. And so it is.
Step out on the water, release your faith. Every step is stronger. Step out on the water.